Welcome, interwebs. I'm Tim Green. I write in the pen name TimRG, and this is my writing channel. And you are listening to the Skyler Grant Podcast, where it is the reading of my only novel I've ever written by pantsing it. And it's a very, very first draft. It's being read to you by my good buddy Adam Daley from the ZOP Gaming channel.
Go over there and check it out right now. It would be awesome of you to do that.
Adam, say hi.
Hi!
There you go. Good boy. You follow orders. I pat you on the head, but I don't want to touch you.
I'm kind of greasy.
No, it's just a face. Oh, sorry, wrong place. We don't. That's a joke somewhere else.
That's a different thing altogether.
Yes. Anyway, what will happen here is Adam will read a chapter. We are currently on what chapter, Adam?
Chapter 26.
26 of 46 chapters.
We're about halfway through.
We're over halfway through this reading. So after he reads the chapter, we will discuss the chapter. Anything that Adam wants to shine a bright light on, anything I can remember when I wrote this chapter over a decade ago, we'll talk about it. So before we get to that, if you go on and to enjoy this podcast, why don't you go and like this, hit the like button as a prayer to the holy algorithm.
Holy algorithm.
And subscribe because I got some writing content on this channel. With that all out of the way, Adam, when you're ready.
Skyler Grant. Written by Tim Green. Narrated by Adam Daley. Chapter 26. The soldier holding Jenna flew back, slamming into the hardwood floor. Bang! The other two guards turned as they heard the shout, followed by their fellow soldier hitting the ground. The soldier who hit the ground got to his feet. He walked back over to Jenna, who was different. Her eyes were completely white, with a glow coming off of them. Her body was locked. Her back arched, her arms straight but tensed, her muscles bulging. Her mouth had closed. That is when the soldier noticed the lights were starting to flicker. A slight noise could be heard but it was faint. "You," said the soldier nearest to Jenna as he walked over to Jin. "What is going on with this girl?" The soldier had clearly forgot that Jin was out. 2 darts stuck in his shoulder and neck. He kicked him in the side, but he did not wake. He bent down when he noticed the 2 darts, stood back up. "He's not going to be any help to us." "What the hell is going on here?" asked one of the 2 soldiers who was next to John's lifeless body. Did you hear that?" asked the other soldier. The roar had slowly begun to get louder. They looked over to Jenna to see her body was starting to shake. The soldier closer stepped right up to her to notice that her mouth was not fully closed. It was partly open, and the roar was coming from her. It got louder and louder. The soldier backed away quickly. It became too loud for him to be right next to her. The roar continued to grow, so all 3 soldiers and the contractor covered their ears. For several minutes, they covered their ears, trying to outlast this roar. Finally, the soldier closest to her grabbed his weapon and fired 3 shots. Bang! 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 The darts hit her with great impact, and her body reacted with each hit, knocking her back a foot, but nothing happened. The soldier was shocked. He knew there was enough juice in those darts to put an elephant down, but this girl remained up. He raised his weapon again, began to slowly squeeze the trigger when the roar stopped. He paused. He took a few steps closer to her when the light stopped flickering. Then her eyes returned to normal. The closer he got, he noticed her body loosened. Finally, she took a step back, fell to one knee. The soldier knew the drug was taking effect. Whatever state she was in only slowed the drugs. Once on one knee, she quickly fell to both. Her body tumbled forward, and she stayed propping her up on her knees and forearms, with her head facing her stomach. The soldier slowly approached until he was 2 feet from her. He was amazed she was not out, so he decided to give her one more dose as he raised his weapon to the top of her head. Suddenly, she jerked her head up, stared right at him. He knew the moment he looked into her eyes, she was different. Jenna glared over the barrel of the gun, not pointed right at her forehead. "Night?" said the soldier as he pulled the trigger. Puff! Bang! The soldier could not believe it. She was gone. The moment his weapon fired, she vanished. He jerked his head around the dojo, looking where she could be. He noticed the other two soldiers and the contractor were just as surprised as he was. They looked around to where she could be. The soldier looked back where she was to see the dart he fired stuck into the wooden floor. Ah! Said one of the soldiers behind, shouted. The soldier turned to see the contractor falling to the ground with a streak of blood flowing through the air and Jenna standing behind him. The two soldiers next to him attacked. The closest threw a punch was aimed right at her chin. Puff. The soldier stumbled forward as he missed and she was gone. Puff. But she was right behind him. That's when he noticed she had a sword in her hand with the blood of the contractor on it. With a quick, fluent movement, she sliced right through the soldier's neck. Puff! She was gone, all before his head hit the floor with a thud and rolled, followed by bang, as his body slammed to the floor. The soldier right there froze. It was obvious he did not know what to do. Greer! Shouted the soldier, get over here, waving to him. Yes, Jackson, said Greer, snapping back to reality. Their only chance to survive was to be near each other and could counter if she attacked. Greer took off towards him. Being only 15 feet from each other, it did not take long for him to reach him. Puff. Ugh, said Greer, as the sword was thrusted through his stomach and out his back. Jenna appeared right in front of him, with the blade of the sword sticking out. Greer killed himself by running right into it, as Jackson stood off to the side and watched the whole thing happen. Greer's body collapsed onto the sword, and it was too much for Jenna to hold. As the body fell on her, she stumbled back a few steps before she shifted her weight to the side, pulling the blade from the body before it fell to the floor. Bang! Gotta ya! Shouted Jackson, wrapping his arms around Jenna. Jenna was caught off guard while she was still busy watching the last soldier who held her father down before he was killed. Jackson was able to sneak up on her. He quickly squeezed, pinching her arms tight to her body, loosing her grip on the sword before she let go completely. The sword fell to the floor with a loud clatter as steel hit floor. Jenna struggled to get free when Jackson lifted her up off the ground and began to toss her about easily, controlling her since he had position and was stronger. Puff! Bang! Jenna and Jackson slammed into the wall near the entrance to the back. Jackson back hit first, with Jenna moving into his chest. The moment they hit, she felt his grip loosen a little, but a second later he squeezed it again. Puff! The two appeared near the main entrance and the shattered front window. Puff! Just as fast as they appeared across the room, they were gone, but appeared halfway across. Puff! Bang! They hit the wall again, this time with greater force, and Jackson's grip broke. She felt free and in control, but knew she had only a moment before he would try to grab her again. Puff! Jenna appeared where they stood when Jackson grabbed her from behind. She picked up the sword, looked at the soldier across the room who was down on one knee, began to stand. Puff! She appeared right in front of him as he stood. He reached out to grab her, but she was ready. She raised the blade and thrust it into his right shoulder, and it popped out the back. Using her momentum, she forced the soldier back against the wall. Ah! Shouted Jackson as he hit the way again with a thud. You are going to tell me how you found us, said Jenna. Never! Oh, really? Said Jenna, twisting the blade. Ah! Tell me! Why? You were just gonna kill me after I talk. I killed the 3 who killed my father. You were not directly involved. If you don't talk, I might. Silence came over the dojo. Jenna stared into Jackson's eyes. She wanted to know what happened. She could see as he looked back, he was thinking it through. A few moments passed. A few moments pasted, and she did not like it. She twisted the blade again. Ah, you bitch! Talk! Fine. The soldier Skyler took hostage left his tracking device on someone here. Impossible. He never entered this building. Skyler kept him out in the truck or the woods. Then it had to be someone, because the device points inside the building. Jenna was shocked. The soldier grabbed her when her and her dad left him on the side of the road. He was not trying to attack her, but place the device. She was so scared when that happened, she did not even think to check to make sure he did not leave anything. It was her fault her father was dead. She killed him. She pulled the sword from Jackson's shoulder and turned. She dropped her head out of shame. This is my fault. Yes, it is, said Jackson, wrapping his arms around her. Poof! She appeared behind him. She slashed the blade across his back, through his protective armor, right to his flesh and spinal cord. Ah! Shouted Jackson, falling to the floor with a thud. I was gonna let you live, but you just had to make a move. However, that will not happen again. Jenna walked over, put her foot between the shoulder blades just above where she slashed him. She took the tip of the sword, placed it at the base of his neck. With all of her weight, she pushed down on the sword and forced it through until she hit floor. A loud splatter of blood shot out the wound after she pulled the blade free. She looked around. 5 dead bodies, and 4 were killed by her. Tears filled her eyes as she inhaled through her nose. The wet scent of blood filled her nostrils. The air was filled with it. She walked over to her father. She let the sword slip from her grip and embed herself into the floor. Jenna fell to her knees before falling on top of her father. I'm so sorry, Daddy. That's the end of the chapter.
She finally gets her sword.
Yeah, she finally stops speaking in questions.
So...
And now she goes full psycho.
We don't know where she got the sword, but she got her sword. And
it's probably just someplace in the dojo.
Probably. But she's apparently...
It was in Jin's office.
She's clearly a master of the sword.
Already.
Perfect way of how it would work in a
She watched a lot of anime.
She got hooked up in the Matrix and had them download how to use a sword.
She was just like, whoa.
Oh, yeah.
I do like the fact that she goes like from biggest airhead ever to I am murdering everyone here, but I need the answers first.
Well, that was your performance of her.
I have a certain set of skills.
That was your performance of her making her an airhead.
I mean, she was pure airhead all the time. She was so innocent, she didn't understand. And then her father was murdered in front of her because she didn't recognize that someone might put a tracking device on her ankle. There should be like a huge ankle monitor on her leg. And she's like, I thought that was just a new anklet my dad gave me. And they're like, no, you idiot. It looks cool. It's beeping the entire time. Sending signal.
No.
Every time it connects, it sounds exactly like an old 14.4 modem. It kept me up at night, but, it's fashionable.
No. Okay, let's start there. So what did you think of how they found the place?
Okay. You have a character who's already in the dojo who easily could have been like, calling in the boss, Boss man, they all here. Skyler left. Good time to capture everyone. No, you had to make it convoluted.
Well, the idea behind it was they found it and swapped out the contractor or a person who worked for the contractor.
You didn't need to do that. You could have just had the contractor, because Jin used to work for the evil scientist who's in control of all these soldiers that we think maybe.
We don't know how long the people who had contact with Jing.
She's what, 16? She was 5. It's been 11 years. They are keeping track of Jin.
Well, he left. They don't know what he was going. For all we know, he could
that there is no shadowy corporate board bullshit going on here. These are people. These are crack soldiers. They would have intelligence about everything.
As far as we know, Jin just quit. He didn't protest or anything.
Yeah, they're really gonna let a guy go. No. These are evil scientists. They would either keep track of him permanently, smear him through the media, or have him commit suicide.
Or maybe he faked his own death and got to get away. And
that's why he's Jin now. He's no longer Jing. He looks exactly the same age. In fact, all he did was just erase the G on his dojo, and they're like, it's a completely different person.
So the idea was, they didn't realize who it was, and it's someone they swapped out. They found it because of a tracker.
I don't know. It sounds like you're making it more convoluted than it needs to be.
Not really. It was we get the feedback about the him all of them having trackers on.
Yeah, that
earlier. So him transferring to it. Skyler literally telling him, "Hey, yeah, you're gonna be out. I'm not gonna let you go from here. I'm gonna have you get driven 100 miles." Telling him what he's going to do. Okay, how do I ensure that we can find this place? Oh, my tracker. I'm going to put it on someone.
Okay.
So,
all right.
It's a possibility. Could have been done better.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There's so much more in this novel that could have been done so much better. But it is plausible for there. What do you think of her becoming instantly good with a sword? Or
it is a total trope. Like, I mean, this is, Rey picking up the lightsaber for the first time and deflecting a whole bunch of blaster bolts and immediately knowing exactly what to do. Okay. No, I mean, she at least has the Force going, hey, I'm going to fucking guide this kid.
Well, that's the idea behind it. But the emotions don't.
But Jenna does not. Like, she just went.
Is there?
She's like, I have tapped into the hive mind, and now I know how to have a sword fight and be able to teleport perfectly.
Mm-hmm. So
I have to say, the way your fight scenes with her teleportation and being able to be anywhere works way better on your complication of how how fight scenes work. Because there have been a couple of other times where someone grabs someone's right wrist and then grabs their elbow with the same hand that they just grabbed the wrist with. And you're like, wait, how? How did they?
Yeah.
Now they have multiple hands and you're like, no, they let go of the wrist. And you're like, but that was the only thing that was holding the wrist. Like, there's no reason for them to, let it go.
Yeah. Or he slid it down, but, that would have been nice to mention that. But, yeah, this is actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be way worse than the interrogation scene.
Oh, no.
But it was not that bad. We're kind of told where they teleport, or we're just like the idea that keeps teleporting around.
To the wall is the back of the dojo, towards the front door, and then back to the wall.
Yep.
Sorry, I mean to the way.
The way. But it is done well. Also, the transition from the soldier's point of view to Jenna's point of view should have been more thought out.
Yeah.
Because not thought out, but needs a better transition to clear that we've switched from.
Oh, absolutely.
There to Jenna, but And then going from there, having her get caught, and then having to figure out how to get away, and wall.
Just keep slamming him into the wall.
So that would be. I thought that was an interesting take. And then grabbing the thing and then jamming in his shoulder. The guy's clearly a pansy because he couldn't take the sword twisting just like 3 times.
Ah, dude, ow! That's all I gotta say about that. Like, okay, I got stabbed. Oh, it's twisting. Oh, she's twisting it. It's bending. Ah. That's I channeled that into my performance. Was that pain?
Oh, I know. And you did a good job with that.
And the fact that Jenna went full John Wick on their ass.
Yeah.
Like, she was like, you forgot about me.
Yeah.
Poof. What about me? And you're like, ah!
Instead of using guns, you use a sword.
By the way, I honestly, if you rewrite this scene, first of all, have a few more soldiers.
Oh, yeah.
And she legit just starts, like, the lights are flickering. It goes full horror movie scene here. She is, like, popping up behind them, grabbing their guns, shooting a different one from across the way.
Well, the idea would be, you could do is the lights go out, the emergency lights are on.
Yeah.
So it's darker, like, and then she's gone.
It's
she's just,
all red light.
Yep, and it just pops up. Like
So many shadows.
She slices the guy's throat, and then before they can fire, she's gone.
She steals his gun, fires at another one immediately. Just poop, 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 poop.
Fires someone, like,
and then poof.
Stabs someone in the back. Fires
from their position.
Fires and then shoots them in the head because they're not dead yet. And then pulls the sword out.
And she's not taking their dart guns. No. She's taking their pistols.
Well, I'd have to give them actual guns because we've only established that they have.
She goes after the contractor first, the one that had the one live fire.
Well, she did. She killed him.
Yeah, but she takes his pistol and uses it on everyone else. And just before she shoots the last one, it click because she's not used to counting.
Yep.
So no weapon. She gets tackled. Then you have the whole, having to teleport him around. Yep. It would be awesome. Instead of slamming him into the wall, she teleports him around so much that he's just like, I'm going to puke, and has to let her go. And that's when she's just like, now tell me. Well, he's like, I'm trying not to vomit here.
And one thing you could do is teleport him up to the sky.
Yep.
Let him go. And then
teleport and catch him.
Yep.
He would still have all of the momentum, but now it's 1 inch of hit. Just wham! Ow, son of a bitch.
Or you slam him into something that will break the...
Yeah. You teleport him in front of the wall, so now he gets slammed through the wall.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or something like that. Like something that will break the fall.
Yep.
And break up his momentum so it doesn't kill him.
Yeah. Over and over again.
So, but yeah, it's one of those things where it's a good scene. It just needs a good rewrite.
Oh, absolutely. I say go full horror movie.
Oh, yeah.
John Wick.
It definitely needs to be like a horror movie, like from the viewpoint, and then switch over to
once the click happens and she runs out of ammo, would be the perfect time to switch it over to her point of view. And up to that point, it's just soldiers. And the last one just sees the barrel pop up in front of him and hears a click.
And she's just like,
and he's like, oh, and like he legit just thank you. And he's the last one.
But yeah, it's one of those things there.
Because she also probably believes that Jin is dead at that moment.
No, she saw.
Well, yeah, but still,
the darts. The only gun that she saw get shot for actual firing for bullets.
Yeah, that's true. Was her dad?
Was her dad. I love how he decided not to keep him alive, so he could say one last thing to him.
I know. He doesn't even get the final line.
Nope.
There's no, Jenna. I'll be.
I love you, Jenna. Oh,
Jenna.
No, like he.
And then gets shot in the back of the head.
Or like he's still alive, like he's barely, like when he falls over, he's like, I love you, Jenna. And before he dies, or you know how that always like this big fight scene happens after someone who should be dead, and they somehow
drop to their knees, they reach the one hand forward, and honestly, they whisper it.
Yep.
And somehow the person who is like 30 or 40 feet away hears it perfectly and reads their lips perfectly.
Yeah.
Knows exactly. I'd be like, hell's wrong with him? Just die already. Everyone else pauses to allow it to happen.
Oh, no. This would be after the fight. Like, she killed everyone, and he's somehow still alive.
Oh.
Like...
She's like, hold on, Dad, let me take it. Pop, pop.
So he gets.
She just takes him out real quick.
Gets to say one last thing to it.
No.
To her. No.
No.
That's why I'm glad I didn't give her. Give him that last line at all. Like he comes in, like the line when he gets shot. He doesn't even get a dialogue line in that scene. He just gets pulled in, comes back, fights.
Bang bang, dead. That's it.
Yep. Yeah.
John, my favorite character, is gone now.
No more John.
Jenna, my second favorite character to voice, has changed.
Yep.
How am I going to deal with this? You're going to have to tune into next episode to figure out how I deal with that.
But we're not done yet, are we?
No, yeah, well,
do you have anything else you want
to add?
No,
I don't. That's why. I didn't think there was anything left.
The only thing I would probably maybe consider changing this is letting Jenna hunt down that last guy. Instead of like when she's gun shanks, he doesn't go after her. He runs.
Okay.
And he gets to she gets to stalk
through
him.
The building.
No, like out, like through the building, out into like the car. I guess in a car and drives away. Not really. She's teleported on like the truck. He's like Mayday, Mayday. Teleports in, grabs him, teleports him, slams him into a tree.
Even better, teleports into the vehicle, teleports him out of the vehicle, pops back in front of the vehicle and teleports away. So he runs himself over with the vehicle.
Yeah.
Whirl! And just
like teleports him, puts the knife, the sword to his throat, and like, tell me what I want to know, or you're dead. Like, you're gonna kill me anyway. No, I killed the people who killed my dad, or the people who tried to kill me.
You didn't do that. You were in the back. You didn't get the chance to.
You were worthless. You froze. That was your good thing. Now, but you want to live? And then like, okay.
Tell me what I know.
Like,
tell me what I need to know.
He tries to go with a gun, breaks his arm, grabs him, teleports him in front of him, and then like gets run over by. Yeah, do it that way.
I mean, you could also have it at the moment that she. You know, she cuts both of his arms off. She literally, like, he goes to do something and his hands come up and she quite literally goes from holding the blade against his neck, flips it around and just sends it forward. Mm-hmm. So both hands are now gone and they're aimed towards a telephone pole. Puff. Smashes into the pole. He's puff in between it. He literally plants himself in between the... And they'll be like... The police later are like, so... His blood is on the outside and inside the vehicle. His hands are inside the vehicle. But he's here.
The change would be, it's not some random... It's the contractor.
Oh, yeah.
She doesn't kill him like in this one.
Oh, yeah.
She wounds him and saves him and makes him the one who killed, because she is going to kill him. And she's like, yes, you're right, I am going to kill you. It can be fast or real slow.
And that ends up being the fast.
Yeah.
Is that like she aims them towards a telephone pole or a wall and teleports him right in front of it. So all he can do is just go, boom.
See, I like it. I don't like the idea. I do like the telephone poles being smashed in between it, but I also like the idea of, like, he's racing. So they're going really fast.
Oh, yeah.
When she gets in there and she's, like, threatens him. And when she teleports him in front of it, it's like he grabs her, she grabs him, teleports him, and doesn't even see her there. He's just like, where am I? It's like, where? And he hears
the lights.
And he sees the lights, and he realizes it's the lights, and he looks over. And it's kind of like,
where?
You're kind of just like, it's in a movie. It's like, he's looking around, and you just see the lights come on, like the lights getting brighter on him. And he's like, what? And you do a side shot, and you just see the truck go, poof,
just smash into the
he
wall.
Goes flying.
Yeah.
Like,
where? He hits it, rolls over
he
the
goes
top.
up in the air, lands back into the base. What is it called? The
bed of the truck.
The bed of the truck.
As it then goes off a cliff
And then it just kind of stops. The truck just comes to a stop. But he's like, but I do like his hands being inside the truck, but him getting hit and landing in. How did that happen?
It's like how did this work? Yeah, and yeah, he should like that. That's actually a pretty cool one because. Yeah, he's going to get his comeuppance.
Yep.
And she could also teleport right next to him.
At least someone
and let
gets his
him know.
At least someone who did something bad gets his comeuppance. Poor Hillary and Skyler not getting comeuppance on Daniels because he's gone. We won't see him again until
I'm sorry.
The next chapter we'll see him again.
Okay.
But after that we don't see him. It's a spoiler, but it's not a spoiler.
It's okay.
But like if I did a sequel,
it's a character that you forgot about.
Yeah. Or I planned on doing it, coming back to him later when I was going to write sequels and get him there. But that's what I think. If I was to rewrite this, I would do the same thing. He doesn't get his comeuppance until the next story.
Oh yeah, and in fact, like he just straight up disappears. He was in there. His job is done. He's been transferred to someplace else. But we don't need to know that because he's the bad guy.
No, he's on an assignment.
Yeah. But you don't because we're following the heroes.
Well, no, you could still let him know that he's on an assignment. That's why he doesn't get his comeuppance in his book.
Okay.
Or something like that. It's worry about that. We'll talk more about that in the next chapter.
Yes.
Because we're gonna finally figure out we're gonna finally find out how Skyler got captured.
Finally.
After
his rescue.
After he got rescued. Yes.
Okay. All right.
But if you don't have anything else you want to add to this conversation, Adam, we'll wrap it up here. What do you think of this story? Are you enjoying it? Are you lost? Or even loster than you were before? Have you been following it the entire time? Let us know down in the comment section and tell us. If this is your first time, thank you for listening. Now go back and listen to the rest of the podcast and learn out what happened to see if you can understand what's going on too, or not.
Yeah.
But since you made it this far, I'm assuming you're enjoying this. So why don't you go and hit that like button? No, not hit it. Don't hit it.
No.
Destroy it. Smash that like button with your mouse as a prayer, as a sacrifice to the holy algorithm. And subscribe because I got other writing content on here. Speaking of that content, I'll have a link on the screen for the rest of the Skyler Grant podcast episodes, as well as a link to another video that best suits you. Whatever you click on, we'll see you there. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.